they asked me, well, do you want to pick your job or do you want to pick where you want to go?
Mm.
And I said, I think I want to pick my job. And then they said, well, you're going to go to Korea then. But we have this awesome thing in California, and you can go there. It's the infantry. Don't worry about it. Everything's good. You'll be in California for 4 years. Yeah, I got screwed. I got screwed.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Trade Talk. And if you didn't know, now you know. And if you knew, tell everybody you know. Today, I got a special guest. He's a great friend of mine, somebody who's a director of field operations here at the Paving Group. And not only that, has some experience in the military. Not only that, big Buffalo Bills fan. My man, yo man, Tony G. What's up, man?
What's up, Trey? How are you, man?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Thanks for having me.
So, man, there's a couple questions I want to ask you, but I just kind of want you to start with just telling people who you are, where you come from, and how did you get here?
Buddy, it's been a long journey. So, Tony Grout from Lockport, New York.
Come on.
We went in the Army back in 1988.
Sheesh.
Got out in 94. That's when I jumped into the paving business.
Okay.
And I've been trying to get out ever since. I can't lie.
So what made you go to the military, man? Because I know that experience coming out of high school, either you're told that you're going to college or you're going to the military, especially as a man, right? So explain that experience, because I know that's definitely plays some type of role in your life to this day.
Yeah. So the goal was to go to college,
Okay.
but me and college had a pretty abusive relationship. Right? So I did pretty good. No, I did not even good. So I went actually one whole year.
Okay.
I don't believe that the GPA was over a 1. And then I was just kind of struggling, like, what do I do now?
Right.
All my friends are in college. My dad was in the military, so that kind of pushed me that way. And at that point in my life, I didn't think there was anything else for me to do.
Right.
So I made that call basically on my own and got lied to every step of the way. Every step of the way. So I wanted to go in the Air Force. You had to be a little bit smarter than I was at that point to go in the Air Force. They sent me down the hall, talked to the Army guy, and I told him that I wanted to be in air traffic control. Obviously, they didn't have too much of that in the Army, but they asked me, well, do you want to pick your job or do you want to pick where you want to go?
Mm.
And I said, I think I want to pick my job. And then they said, well, you're going to go to Korea then. But we have this awesome thing in California, and you can go there. It's the infantry. Don't worry about it. Everything's good. You'll be in California for 4 years. Yeah, I got screwed. I got screwed.
How did you get screwed, Tony? I got to hear this story, because there's more to this story. You were going to end up in Korea. You end up in California. How does this happen?
I thought I did good at that point until I got there, right? But, yeah, the infantry, obviously front lines, all that stuff. And there's no easy thing about what you had to do to get ready to go there.
Right.
And, yeah, it was, but I look back on all of that stuff too, and somebody sent me there for a reason, right? I think if, as hard as it was, if somebody asked me again, would you do it all over again? Because I don't think I'd be the man I am today if I didn't do all that stuff or go through all that stuff.
Right.
So I look at it as a blessing at that point.
So in what ways from the military have you become the most disciplined that you could possibly think of? Because you said, but when you were in college, there was a different type of Tony, right? There was a kid who was acting up, a kid that was doing a lot of different things. And then you get into the military, and obviously the discipline's different. And you say you're in infantry, so that means you're front lines. You're doing things that most people couldn't imagine and or fathom.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? So explain the discipline piece, man, and what it takes for you to be as disciplined as you needed to be, as well as how it's helped you now in your current life.
Right. Well, when you go in there and you have to do it, and there's somebody riding you every single day, like you're held accountable all day, every day. And then you're always training, to go to war.
Right.
And you're responsible for a lot of people at that point.
Right.
So you cannot do it, but your decisions you make at that point could kill somebody. So like at that point, everything was for the team.
Right. Man, Tony, and that's something that's special, because you said it's for the team, and most people don't even they don't put two and two together, right? You hear people talk about sports and it's just the locker room, but military is as close as you can get to any sport outside of any profession I can think of, right? And that occupation, I talked to a couple generals when I went down to Tampa to see a friend of mine, Jordan Whitehead, and he had just as much of a tough time figuring out who he was outside of the military as I did figuring out who I was outside of the NFL.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you don't mind, go into that a little bit because you talked about it. You was like, you live, you die, you breathe this. This is what you do. How hard was it for you to transition from doing that and into this paving life?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I had it a lot easier. I don't know why than a lot of other guys that went there. That transition was difficult, right? It was tough to go from somebody telling you every day what to do, when to do it, how to do it, what time to do it, and then going on your own. A lot of guys can't make that transition, right? For me, it was kind of easy. I just, at that point, pretty close to when I got out, I had other responsibilities. My girlfriend, became my baby mama real quick, and I had different kind of responsibilities. Now it's not for the guy in the foxhole next to you. It's for your family.
Right.
So it was finding a job. Unfortunately, it was in the asphalt business, but it was the only thing that was that had insurance at that point. So, but for me, I mean, I've never been happy at the bottom, and I just kept grinding and grinding and grinding. I just look at everything that happened in the military. That's kind of what got me here. That kind of mindset.
Do you ever reminisce on some of those thoughts, those ideas from back then, or just friends from back then that you haven't seen in a while? Like, how often do you reminisce on it?
I was gonna say I actually was texting two of them today.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. There's a couple real tight ones there, and unfortunately, we lost a buddy of mine.
Sorry to hear that.
In 1989 in Panama. But that loss has brought a ton of people together.
Wow.
And we will never let his spirit die. We talk about it all the time. There's a couple times a year, Veterans Day, Memorial Day.
Right.
And obviously that dreadful December 20th, 1989 that happened, right? So and that has brought a bunch of us together, and it's like you on the football field. Like you went through some things with those guys, and you can't break that bond. Like, and this one gets stronger and stronger and stronger every year.
And there's certain things that's just unexplainable. You know what I mean? Like there's just certain things that, like, even if I tried to explain to you on how it happened or what happened, you just simply won't understand because you didn't go to bats. We didn't bleed together, as I like to say. You know what I mean? And that's why I have such a high respect for you, Tony, because to be in that position, to also be in the front lines of that, right? I unfortunately was not in the military. That was going to be my second choice had I not made it to college.
You in college may have had a better relationship, huh?
Just a little bit, just a little bit. But definitely just have a high respect for you and you guys, man, just what you guys have done, not only for this country, but just the ability just to stay as disciplined as you stayed, man. Like, that is not an easy feat, bro, especially when you're about to go front lines. I can only imagine the mental torture you put yourself through just to be like, I have to do this. I got to go do this.
We had a lot of training, too, where it was simulated, too. So you thought that you were on that plane to go somewhere else, and all of a sudden it was a training exercise. So they condition you into that stuff sometimes. But, like, this time we were in Panama in September. So we were there doing patrols, doing all kinds of things. And, mentally you were there at that point. You didn't just fly in.
You've been there.
We were thinking about it. We would look at them across the fence every single day. You knew it was a matter of time before something was going to happen. So I had plenty of time to process it. But the lead starts flying.
It's a different ball game.
It's a whole different thing.
Oh, man, Tony, I can't lie to you. So now, and knowing this about you, man, like, just sitting here looking at it, right? You probably have a crap ton of stories, probably some funny ones, some ones that you don't want to discuss. But I want to know, like, if you had to pick right now, because you're a big NFL guy, right? Like, you enjoy the NFL. Buffalo Bills is your team. If you had to pick guys on your team right now, right, to go to war with from the NFL, who are you picking to be on your team?
Well, I told you it was gonna be a hometown guy, man. I had the pleasure to go to a Steelers game this year.
Okay.
And when that Renegade song comes on.
Don't they put something in your veins,
and
bro?
that man comes out and he takes 80,000 people and turns them around. Like, how can TJ Watt not be your guy?
Come on, man. Listen, I'm telling you.
And dude, I'm from Buffalo. Like, I'm a diehard. Like, I've been through the Four Falls of Buffalo.
Right.
TJ Watt, like that day, like
showed you something.
He showed me something.
So if you had to have a top 5, you got TJ Watt. Who's your other 4?
Let's go. Are we going
old school, new school?
Let's go old school a little bit. Let's go. Let's bring Bruce Smith out.
Okay, tell me why. Tell me why. Tell me why.
Dude, he's just a beast, man. The intimidation factor. Dude, he's just he's a wreck, right? So I mean, if you're gonna go into war, I got TJ on this side, Bruce on this side. Who's gonna orchestrate it all, though? I'd hate to say this one too, but like Tom Brady, right?
And can't even be mad with that, bro. I can't be mad with that.
How do you not have him run your squad? Who else? What else? We gotta filter through the kickers and the punters. They're all head cases. They're like goalies. They're like Mikey Saps. There's something about those goalies. We're strictly doing football. Though, right?
Strictly football.
Let's see. Workhorse, backfield. Let's go with Tony Dorsett.
Mr. CTE himself. That boy done got hit too many times in his head.
I was going to say, because he's going right at it.
He's not losing nothing. No. He's going in there to go hurt somebody.
And we'll put another one. We'll put Thurman Thomas on the other side.
Tell me why.
He's just, obviously, he's a Buffalo guy. He was there for all that stuff. And he's just a workhorse.
So who was your role model growing up that kind of led you down the path that you're currently at? You spoke a little bit about your father. Was it your father, or is it an uncle, a grandfather? Like, who was your inspiration?
My dad was a big time inspiration, but my Uncle Lloyd was he's my mom's brother.
Okay.
So he got me into hockey. He got me into hunting, like, and everything that I do and love now. I got to attribute that to my Uncle Lloyd.
Man, so like growing up, tell me a little bit about that bond. Did it make it easier to make friends because you had that bond with your Uncle Lloyd? Like, was he a guy who taught you about how to make a friend, or was he the guy who taught you about like how to survive? And it sounds like he taught you how to survive more than anything.
Yeah, he more how to survive. He was a great guy, but it was just those little things that you do. And he wasn't a friendly guy sometimes too. Like he would teach you exactly how He'd put you in your place more than whatever, but it's that some of that stuff that that hard stuff. I mean, you see me around here with these guys, holding people accountable.
Right.
I said it in the meeting today. I'll be the a-hole today, but it's stuff like that he put me down that path. Started out.
Hey, I'll say this for sure, Tony. You ain't soft. That's what I like about you, bro. That's one thing for sure. Two things for certain. My man Tony G is not soft, man. So like. With that said, I'm getting into this next point, man. You mentioned your children, right? The people that you love, without a question. What was it like after you come back, being in the Army, right? You're a different guy automatically. I can imagine what type of Tony I'm getting when you come out of the military. But now you're about to have a baby. What is that experience like for you? Because you said everything about you changed in a way, right?
I was scared at that point. Like, just kind of the path I was going down at that point. Like, holy cow, am I ready to be a father at this point? And I question it, but obviously, dude, you put eyes on that first one, and it changes you, right? But so he's about to be 29 this year. Yeah, that's Canaan. That's the firstborn. But I was a drill sergeant raising Canaan. He'll tell you, like, I was tough. I mean, I'm still tough on him to this day. But times have changed.
Right.
Connor got it a little bit easier, right?
Oh, man.
So I had to treat him a little bit different, and it's kind of like the same here. Like when I first got into paving, I was a yeller, I was a screamer, I was a drill sergeant, right? So you can't do that now, right? And looking back on it, you probably could have gotten a lot more out of them, but that's just how it was.
It's just the time period.
Yeah, live and learn.
So as a drill sergeant, man, because Tony, you're funny as heck now, man. So it's hard for me to imagine super serious Tony. I can imagine serious Tony, but like super serious, like I'm a mother F you the whole way out of here. What was that guy like? Like,
it was. So I was in the reserves. So it wasn't in the. in the real Army, I would go there and we do it for 2 weeks out of the year. But when I got into it, I was straight out of the infantry, and these guys are weekend warriors, right? So funny story, when I went into the reserves, it was I don't even know what it was, combat engineers or something like that. And I show up probably 2 weeks after I got out, and here's a bunch of not well in shape guys, and I'm like, oh my God. And I saw this squared away bunch of dudes run by me, cadence, all this stuff. And I'm just like looking at them, and the guy's like, I said, who are those guys? Oh, those are just the drill sergeants. I'm like, how do I get with those guys? They're like, why would you want to be with them? I'm like, dude, that's my guys right there. And they walked me across the hall right there. And that's kind of how that went. So 2 weeks later, we went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Okay.
And I didn't even have I'm in training now to become a drill sergeant.
Okay.
So, the big smoky hat that they wear. I couldn't wear that. I was wearing the soft cap like the regular Army guys.
You in your lane.
But none of these guys knew what I knew at that point in my life. They've been in the reserves doing it.
Right.
And I went in there and tore this place apart, right? And I was a corporal at that time and ended up leaving with drill sergeant of the cycle.
Right.
I'm not even a drill sergeant. So it was good for that group of people to get somebody that just came out of it.
So as a leader, man, it seems like leadership is in your blood in some type of way. You know what I mean? I know, just like myself, probably yourself as well, like being in positions where you're not leading the group, you almost have a tough time just because
I can't do it.
You look at the leader that's in front and you're like, how are you moving?
I'm sweating.
You're right. Like, you just like, are you doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. But in the same sense, man, what have you learned from following, right? Because following has a huge, honestly, I think it has the biggest impact on how you become a leader is how you follow as a leader, right? So who have you followed that you could say that has truly inspired you to be a better leader?
I've had some pretty good opportunities. I spent the first 18 years of my career, and I started from the bottom, holding the shovel, throwing cones into a foreman position, into a supervisor, into a project manager, and just to have that kind of person that was let me do that. Hey, you've now succeeded there. You're going to the next one, and being able to climb the ladder. So I'll shout him out. He'll never see this. There's no social media with this guy, but John Morris, currently with Haley Engineering Contractors. I mean, inspiration in my life, got me to where I'm at here now in the construction industry.
Man, bro. So shout out to my man. I know you don't have any social media. Not gonna hold it against you.
Kids will see it. Somebody will see it.
Somebody will see it, man. But if you are gonna see it and you do see it, your man Tony's looking out for you, man, because they know that you may or may not see it with your old butt. But I ain't gonna get into it. You better get some social media now.
That's it.
Don't make Tony come find you.
He gave me the opportunity that I don't think I'd be here without having that opportunity. So.
Oh, that's huge.
Shout out, Big John.
Hey, man. But also, let's talk about that though, because again, you're a drill sergeant, right? But now you're in paving.
Right.
Make it make sense, bro. So like, how did that transition over? Like, I know that you're probably like the leader of your crew of some sort, in some type of way, but I know it must still be a little bit hard for you to really like get to these guys because they're not your guys from back in the military. Yeah,
but it was, becoming a part of that team, obviously learning what that team's supposed to be doing first. And I'll do that, and I'll just sit back and listen and learn. And then when I think that I know the whole deal, now you get in and I know how to lead guys, right? And just motivating them, putting incentives out there for them to do the right thing, give us a good product, stuff like that. I mean, it has gotten different as you go on, where, and then what I can do now is put the experience into those leaders where maybe I'm not in charge, but they are, but just give them some of that knowledge to be able to do it themselves, right?
So coming into the industry, man, what was the biggest challenge for you?
Biggest challenge at that point, dude. I worked at a hot dog stand at that point. I was in the Army for that point. Now I'm in asphalt.
Right.
And I show up behind a paver, 300 degrees with a whatever. But I think it was, at that point, I didn't care what I was doing. I was there for a reason.
Right.
But then, it's just wherever I've been, It's just kind of mastering that trade, never being satisfied where I was,
right,
and always wanting to get to the next point. So,
and that's huge, man, because you're talking about leveling up, and some people get stagnant, especially after coming out of a situation where I'm in the military, I'm a high rank in the military, and now I got to come into the new world with the civilians, as you guys like to call it, right? And speak on that a little bit, man. Trying to be civilized with people that don't genuinely understand, even on how you talk, how you speak, right? Because there's probably, again, as I said, thousands of stories that you would love to talk about with your friends, right? You probably still talk about to this day. But how do you deal with civilized people or civilians?
It was, at that point, it was tough, man, because like I said, for 4 years or more, you know, you had to get up at a certain time, you had to wear a certain thing, you had to do certain things,
right?
And you respected the guys that told you to do that,
right?
You know, now you're getting out. Now it's up to you. What time do you want to get up? What time do you? What do you want to wear? How do you want to look? How do you want to show up? So, and it's pretty sad though, because I still have friends now that's, you know, 30 some odd years later that are still struggling with that.
Wow.
And I again, I'm a little bit lucky that for some reason, somehow, like that transition wasn't as difficult for me.
So what would you say to your friends who are probably going to watch this and or see this, right, that you feel that are struggling through this tough time currently? What would you say to them to help them get out of that dirt of a hole?
I talk to some of these guys a lot, but and I don't want to say that there's a ton of them, but it's just keep trucking, man. Just, you know, figure out what you want to do, put your heart and soul into it, and good things will come.
And I could tell you do a lot of things with passion. I've seen it a couple of times, man, just in some of your speeches about the Pavement Group and what it's done for you in your life and whatnot, man. And to see you be so passionate about something that you care about, it shows that you're not just here just to be here.
No.
You know what I mean? And some people, you find them, right? You'll see them around like, I'm just here to be here types, right? But for you, you could tell it goes deeper than that. And I want to know, why for you is it so important to be a part of as an organization as the Pavement Group, and to be a part of TCS, and to be a part of the other things that we're doing?
It's just, I've been around the block, to say, right? 30 years in the industry. I've worked for the companies where they don't care about you. I've worked for the companies where you've hit the lid, right? I've worked for the companies that the integrity wasn't there. I worked where it was about them and not about us, right? It's different here. You know that.
100%.
I think that's why you're here. There's something about this place, about this team, about what Brian's put together. Like it's going to be something for us, right? I couldn't say that on a couple of the other, that it possibly could create that generational wealth that we're looking at.
Right.
But if I put all my heart and soul into it, and I get you on board and everybody else, like, I just know what we can do as a team going forward.
Were you always like that, or was that something that like the Pavement Group helped emphasize in your life, man, is that we go better when we're together?
Yeah. I mean, well, you saw my history. I think, you know, everything that I've been a part of, the Army, you know, the teams that I've assembled or been part of, like, it's always been about go hard, go together. But like, everything is hitting on all cylinders with the Pavement Group. Right. Sometimes, you know, you got a head that's knocking, or you got the oil's not over here, and it's just not going. But I you know, in Brian's vision and what he's got going here, like, if we all hit on all cylinders all the time, like, it's going somewhere.
It's guaranteed, man.
It's guaranteed.
And it's crazy because you start to see people who want to be like that, right, and want to act in those ways, but they don't have the discipline. They don't have the right consensus of people around them to make it happen, right? I think Brian does a really good job of putting the right people in the right spot, but also putting the right people in the right groups. And the reason why I say that is because we're all a part of a team, right? But you play a different role than I play, and you play a different role than Vinny plays, and plays a different role than Brian plays, but we all play a role, and because we play that role and we do it well, the ship never stops moving.
Oh, that's it. And
you know what I mean?
A shout out to Todd on this one, because, and I can picture him the first time that he sent me this. He was looking on the beach in a house coat, and the message was, we, not me, right? So if we are all hitting on all cylinders, regardless of what entity you are here at TPG, TCS, One Team Media. If we're all hitting on that all cylinders, there's nothing but up here.
I love that, man, and I genuinely believe that too, man. If you're doing what you're supposed to do, and you're actually communicating and you're participating in everything that's being put in front of you, I don't see anybody losing here.
No,
if you come, you know what I mean. If you come here and you want to be a part of this, like, you won't lose if you put in the time, you put in the work.
Right. And if you're not, you will get exposed really
quick, man. It's one of those places, man. You put the blood in the water, the shark's gonna come out. I tell you that right now.
Yep.
But in that experience, Tony, man, you've made some incredible friends here, of course. But since you've been here, man, what was the biggest takeaway for you being here in comparison to you being other places?
I just think it's that sense of family, that sense of one. It's like you said before, like, you see people coming in, they're punching the time clock, and they're all about themselves and what's in it for me and all that stuff. Like, I'm just trying to re-engineer that message that if we all do it, regardless of what it is, and you do it as hard as you can, there's going to be struggles
100%.
all the time. But at the end of the day, if we're all doing and are here for the same reasons, like, it's going to benefit us.
I agree. And
it's tough to convey that to somebody that's just getting into it.
Right.
But, like, you can see the passion sometimes when I'm talking to these guys. Like, I know, right?
Right.
I know. I've got 30 more years than you do. Trust me on this one.
Right.
And you know, with Brian's motivation and everything he's got going, I don't see how it doesn't.
So now I need this from you, Tony. I need something that's very important to me, and I ask everybody this question. It's a simple question. It's not simple. I lied to you, Tony. I just lied. But I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
So the question is, what are 3 goals that Tony G has for himself in this upcoming year that has nothing to do with the company? Then I want you to give 3 goals that you have for yourself while being involved in the company, or just give me 3 goals that you want for the team as a collective.
All right. So last year I did the Grand Canyon. I mean, that kind of brought the inner TG out in me. I want to do it again, right? So I'm in it to, you know, the whole, you know, our theme this year is personal excellence. So just getting to the point where I can do that again. Right? That $100 million goal too. I mean, I guess that has to do with the company, but there's a lot that has to do.
Come on, I'm with it.
Shoot, that, right? It's not just, you know, it's just being involved and being passionate with the sales guys, being passionate about, you know, the ops people and all that stuff, and just to get that to fruition. What else? Personal goals.
You got 2 more, Tony, because you gave me 1 for the team and 1 for yourself. I love it, though, because you consider what's for you is for everybody. So I respect that. You know what I mean? But give me 2 more. I need at least 2.
Dude, we're running out of the window for Josh Allen here.
I'm going to bring him up. Don't worry. I'll give you a chance to say Josh Allen.
Oh, man. It's just, I'm just making myself better and putting myself out there and teaching these guys here, have them be a sponge off of me, right? Because if I can get them, I say it all the time to these guys, anybody can push paper, but here at the Pavement Group, I want you guys to know what's on that piece of paper.
I like that. You want to get everybody on the same page, and if not the same page, the same sentence.
That's it.
As I like to say. And the closer that we get the same word, then, man, we write what we're supposed to be. You know what I mean? But let's talk about Josh Allen. I know you want to talk about him, so let's talk about him, man, because I'm a hater. I am.
No, I get it.
I'm a hater. The only reason why I'm a hater is because y'all beat us this year, and I don't think I need to say anything else to that, to be honest with you as a Steelers fan. But explain to me when you became a Bills fan. Like, how long have you been a diehard Buffalo Bills fan?
Buddy, somebody asked me the other day, hey, you've been in Florida longer than you were in New York. Like, why don't you like the Dolphins? And I said, I think, and I generally believe this, that when I was born and they gave me all those shots, there was some sort of shot that said, you will hate the Miami Dolphins for the rest of your life. There's no chance of you liking them. But, dude, it's been, you know, my grandmother, and I should have mentioned my grandmother, too, on the inspiration. But, you know, my grandmother was the one that brought me, my uncle brought me into playing hockey.
Right.
But my grandmother was a diehard Yankees fan, diehard Bills
really
fan, diehard Sabres fan, and she loved Hulk Hogan in the WWE. Like, so that's my passion for sports comes from my grandmother.
That's crazy.
So it's been around. I mean, it's diehard, dude. So,
man, that's huge.
But it's
man.
painful at the same time because
every year, bro. I know that you get tired of the Chiefs. I know that you're ready to go in there and fight for them right now.
That's it, man. It's terrible, but I don't know. There's nothing inside of me that says not to be a diehard Bills fan, no matter what.
And you got pictures, you got the paintings, you got all of it.
You don't even see half the stuff.
What is your most like prized possession in terms of your Bills gear that you have?
Well, I've got so I got Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Bruce Smith, all autographed framed jerseys. So you can't see all that stuff. I got a Jim Kelly football. What else do I have? Plenty of little helmets, autographed signs.
What was it like growing up and watching Jim Kelly? And if I'm speaking from the heart here, man, I know Jim Kelly was a great athlete, did really well in the league during his time period. But what was that like for you, man? I know that seems like it was one of your guys that you were like, I could be him type. You know what I mean?
I mean, he was awesome to watch. And back in that day, I was out at the bars in Buffalo,
right?
When in the '90s when those guys were, so that was like surreal at that point.
Tony, what a time, man.
I'm telling you.
The 90s with no cell phones. I can only imagine what type of Tony G was out there acting up, man.
I'm glad that there's nothing on cell phones to be able to show that.
He's like, I'm glad that, hey, if anything could be found, it's been burned and thrown away.
Exactly.
No, but I definitely appreciate you coming on, Tony. This has been a great conversation. And getting the opportunity to get to know you a little bit better just based on your story, what you've been through. And honestly, you being in the military, man, if you would look at you from a distance, you would have no idea on what you've been through. You know what I'm saying? But when you get up close and you get a chance to meet you as the person you are and the man that you are, man, you're a great dude, man. So I appreciate you for coming on, man, for real. Thank you.
I appreciate you having me, dude. I'm loving watching your journey and where you're going and where you're going to take this stuff too, man. So
hey, man, I'm trying to make this thing grow,
I'm going to be the dude back here holding you accountable for this stuff.
You better. You not for real. You better, man, because like you said, man, we all are on one mission.
Yes, sir.
We all got one big goal. We want to see this thing go to the places that it needs to go to, man. So as you're doing your job, I got to make sure I'm doing my job to promote this, publicize this. So as I was saying, Tony, let me say it to the people. Like, share, comment, subscribe, because you just heard me say to you and me and my boy Tony talking, we need your help to grow this thing. We believe in TPG. We believe in one team because we want you on our team. Found the slogan.
Oh, there it is.
We believe in one team because we want you on our team. And I know you heard it. When they make a lot of money from this, you heard it here first.
It is Tre Day.
It is true. I like that. It's Tre Day. Listen, I know it's some more schemes coming around this month.
It.
But with that said, man, this has been Tre Talk. I'm your host, Tre Tipton, with my guest, Tony G. And with that said, man, if you didn't know, now you know. And if you're new, to everybody you know. This is Tre Talk. We love you.
Peace.